Married at First Sight After Party Season 15, Episode 15. This was the final episode of After Party for this season of Married at First Sight. It featured Miguel, Mitch, and podcaster Mary Rosinski. The signature cocktail was called the Rocky Road to Decision Day. It had whiskey, milk, Rocky Road ice cream, toasted marshmallows, and chocolate syrup. They played the clip where Lindy talked to her teammates about feeling like Miguel is training her how to talk and behave in a certain kind of way. Miguel says it breaks his heart to see that scene. He was having a bad mental health weekend and was lashing out. And this is why we need to normalize naps. When we were kids, naps are required. Who decided that once we start working, creating bills, having complicated relationships, and stressing over who gets the big piece of chicken, that naps are no longer required? Now, I could tell by his demeanor on this show that he is now way more relaxed about these issues than he was back then. All this man needed was a nap. Then they showed the clip where Lindy and Miguel talked about Lindy changing her last name. Keisha said, "Do you understand how big of a deal it is to change the identity you've had your entire life, let alone the paperwork that's involved in it?" And he said that Lindy was trying to explain that to him, but instead of trying to quiet that machismo voice that he grew up with, he said, "Fine, do what you want." Keisha said, "You do realize that comes off condescending." He said, "Yes, absolutely." So ultimately, he agreed that her changing her name was a sense of security for him. So Miguel was sending mixed messages with his stance on this, though, because on one hand, he's doubting the relationship, whether or not he can deal with her personality long term, and in his own words, lashing out at her, thus making her feel insecure. But on the other hand, he's wanting her to change her name to give him security. You can't scare someone into giving you security. This was just a mess. So he said the fact that she is there for him, even at these low points, speaks volumes for her character, and he needs to lean in and trust the process. So Keisha said, "They're such a strong couple. Is there anything that could happen that can make it a no on decision day?" He said, "I think Lindy would have to wake up a completely different person, but nothing is set in stone." Clearly, they have gotten past that weird retreat weekend energy. So Keisha asked him who his favorite couple to go on a double date is. And he said, Son of a Mitch and Krysten. Lindy really loves Krysten, and he and Son of a Mitch have some similarities. They kind of get each other. Son of a Mitch said that he would pick Lindy and Miguel too, and Alexis and Weeping Willow. They are the two couples they hang out the most with on and off camera. Remember, according to Son of a Mitch on the show, Krysten and Alexis are besties. So I would bet that Weeping Willow and Alexis are probably at the top of Krysten's list of favorite couples to hang out with. So they showed the clip where Lindy was talking to her friend about Miguel and how afraid she is to talk about certain things because he might say, "I'm done," and leave me. So Keisha asked, "Are you threatening to leave?" And he said, "Short answer, yes. Do I mean it? No. It's my way of lashing out and saying we need to work on this." Oh, Miguel, that's a dangerous way to try to get your point across. You threaten to leave one too many times, she might call your bluff, and then you'll come home with all your clothes torn to shreds on the lawn, Xbox destroyed, and a restraining order. Shoot, we've all done that. Don't act like it's just me. Just kidding. Keisha asked him what he's learned about himself, and he said he's learning to be a husband. Son of a Mitch said that he's been alone so long that he wasn't used to considering someone else, and as a result, he's been selfish and not considering Krysten as much as he needs to as a husband. So I believe Son of a Mitch has grown a lot through the process, but unfortunately, the person who watered his little seed, changed his soil, and helped him grow is tired of his ass. I think you're too late, Son of a Mitch. But Krysten never ceases to amaze me with how much she'll tolerate from you, so I could be very wrong. They showed the clip where Krysten and Son of a Mitch talked about him not wearing his wedding ring and all the fun he had at this so-called convention. What was the convention part? They seem to devote a lot of time to extracurriculars. So he said he didn't want to lie, but the more he sees himself, the more he realizes, like, dude, you don't have to be so forthcoming with every damn detail. Now, there's nothing wrong with being so forthcoming. It's the decisions you made that you're being forthcoming about is the problem. Like living your best life with these beach babes? What were you thinking? So Keisha asked, do you understand what it looks like from her perspective that you took your ring off and pretended not to be married? Then you were telling her about the beach babes who you have continually compared as the bar for a standard of beauty? Do you realize how hurtful that could be? Now that you put it like that, I do. It's not like I'm just offering this information. She's asking me these questions. What would the perfect son of a Mitch have done? Keisha said the perfect son of a Mitch wouldn't have been in the hot tub without his wedding ring with these chicks from work. Get him, Keisha. Since the experts seem to be hogtied in a closet somewhere, I'm glad we have Keisha to check these folks from time to time. Son of a Mitch says he knows he comes across as being an extrovert, but he does have some social anxiety, so he wanted to keep it private. So Miguel said if he was in that situation, he probably would have called Lindy and talked to her about not feeling comfortable wearing the ring while he was still at the conference. Okay, as I mentioned in my video recap of this episode, I believe this is a pretend problem because while he's taping the show and before the cast has officially been announced, he's not allowed to announce to all his coworkers that he got picked for the show or married a woman named Krysten or talk about how this other couple, Morgan and Ben, didn't even make it to decision day and just like spill all the tea. He had to pretend like he was single because of the non-disclosure he had to sign. Keisha asked him how it felt to be away from Krysten. He said he had a hard time reconciling that he did miss Krysten and Luna while he was gone, but he also missed his old life and not sure how they will line up with each other. I think that's a valid concern. Marriage isn't supposed to completely eject you from your old life and things you love to do, but it's hard to see what marriage would really look like for them because this experiment has them in this fake reality. Keisha asked how he feels about his marriage at this point. He thinks they have potential. They check a lot of each other's boxes, but he's still confused and not sure what he's going to do. I believe he likes Krysten more than she likes him at this point. I still think that Krysten is playing the role of son of a Mitch's wife, which is not the same as her being true to herself. So Keisha asked him to weigh in between yes and no regarding his answer for decision day. I'll say no if I think there's a better match for me out there. Child, there isn't. Krysten is the only one who will tolerate you and your mishaps. A yes would be because we've had a good time together and have some great experiences. Okay, but you still can't say that you would say yes because Krysten is a great person, is very patient, and a whole slew of nice adjectives that describe a person who has tolerated more of your crap than she should have. Why isn't it your nature to say something nice about a person who has been good to you? So they showed the clip where Weeping Willow talked to Nate regarding Alexis not being sure about decision day. So Son of a Mitch said, in some ways, marriage is transactional, but giving away the dog and then expecting a yes for decision day is not a realistic expectation. Then he said, plus the fact that he did it in a text shows how scared he must have been feeling because texting is for like, hey, I'm on my way, not, I'm not sure if I want to stay in this marriage or not. Yeah, when you put it like that, you were so right, son of a Mitch. In a way, I believe Weeping Willow might be hanging on to what he and Alexis had in the beginning, like believing they can get back there. The only way y'all are gonna get back there is if you watch the reruns of the show, because those good old days have left the building. And so have I. I'll see you in the next video.